everyone, and welcome back to the Content Mix. I'm Carlota Pico, your host for today's show, and I'm excited to introduce Rudy Dupuis, who is Senior Social Media Strategist at Clarins and also has over a decade of experience in communications and marketing. Welcome, Rudy, and thank you so much for joining us today on the Content Mix.
Hello, Carlota. Thank you for having me. It's super nice to share our experiences.
Yes, I'm so excited to hear more about your role at Clarins. But before we get to that, could you tell me a little bit about your background experience? How did you get to where you are today?
Well, I studied in communication. Back in the time, there was no social media, even when I started. So I studied in advertising. I started in advertising agencies. I had a lot of internships during my studies, and then I started in communication doing print, radio, TV commercials, and then social media appeared, and I was hooked.
Okay, very interesting. So, Rudy, what is a social media strategist?
Well, I recently joined the Clarins team at the global social media team. To take care of the global account. So we have a global account on Instagram, and then we have a strategy to have now we have more than 30 local Instagram accounts. So I'm here to set the guideline for the market, accompany them on their local strategies, and provide them with content, and make sure everyone is going in the right direction for the strategy of the brand.
Okay, very interesting. But let's take one step back. Could you offer our audience a 30-second elevator pitch about Clarins?
Clarins is a beauty brand, really involved in the environment. So the motto is passing on a more beautiful planet to the next generation, and every product is plant based. Everything is really natural, and they were really involved in the environmental choice right from the beginning. It was launched in 1954 by Jacques Courtin Clarins. It started in a beauty institute, and then it became the brand it is today.
Okay, very nice. Well, I'm actually a consumer of your products. I'm a big fan of Clarins, and I'm excited to hear about your social media strategy. So you were mentioning that you have over 30 Instagram accounts. Are you also testing out the new Reel?
We are planning on doing it. It's a new format. We are considering what we should do with it, and with who we should be working with. So, we can't do Reels as the brand, but we can work with the influencer or brand ambassador to do them. So we are looking at what is becoming, and then we will adapt us. Working in social media, it's always adapting to new format. I've been doing it for the past 10 years. So now we are not. Well, we are not launching Reels soon, but we are considering it, and when we are ready, we will launch it.
Okay. So then let me ask you next about TikTok. How are you looking at TikTok in terms of incorporating it into your social media strategy at Clarins?
Well, it's already part of the strategy. We use TikTok to launch the new range My Clarins, which is dedicated to the millennial generation. So we did the launching campaign over TikTok, and it was a great way to. It was different. The launch happened before I arrived, but we recently won a prize for brand content for this launch. It was a new way to work with, as a brand on TikTok, you work with content creator, and you give them a free pass to talk about your brand and see what happens. So it's a really different approach. You have to be considerate about the platform, the code of the platform. Otherwise, it's useless to go there. And it was really interesting to work with the young generation and how they relate to cosmetic brand marketing approach. So it was really nice.
Yeah. Rudy, what do you think TikTok adds to the mix of social media?
Well, to me, it's more like a direct communication with the younger audience. You have to be considerate about the audience who he is on the platform. So to me, it just makes sense for you to talk on TikTok if you want to address this younger target, and to do so, it's really being ready to adapt to breaking the code. It's not the advertising code we are used to. It's even different of what is done on Instagram. It's more direct, more authentic, and anytime something seems to build up, it doesn't work. So you really have to be ready to give it a go and see what happens.
Yeah, no, I remember when Snapchat was a thing and it hadn't necessarily arrived to Europe yet, but it was big in the US and then arrived to Europe, but it didn't really take off. It is big in some emerging markets, like for example, in the UAE, etc. And I'm excited to see how TikTok is going to take a space within the social media networks. And if it's here to stay or if it's just
the new thing.
Yeah, just a new thing that people are going to test out and see if they like it. And if they don't like it, move on to the next thing, like what happened with Snapchat. I feel like there's always a new social media happening next, right?
Yeah, it's what we saw with Snapchat. The new format was these ephemeral stories, but Instagram did it afterward, and Instagram took back the cake. Yeah. Let's see if they'll do the same with the Reels. It's actually kind of the same spirit, so...
Yeah, no, definitely. It feels like the big social media networks are just literally taking what's being built on the ground and incorporating those tools into their own networks.
And they have the audience, so it works.
Of course. They have the key to success, which is the audience, right? And the brands are already on there using that to their advantage. Okay, let's talk a little bit about brands that don't have a big budget. How can a brand with a small budget create or attract an audience to its social networks?
Well, the key is really content. You have to post, and if you don't have budget for media, you have to post even more to remain present in the Instagram feed or in the mind of your consumers. And really, I did many conferences, and recently it was about TikTok and a small brand in France who give it a go to TikTok, and they give it the content creation to their intern, and it was a smash because it was a new format and they were one of the first to be there. So if you're small, I would say that identify what is the new format, what is the new thing, and go there before the big players are here. And this is where you get a chance to emerge, because you won't be able to emerge in a space where big brands are investing millions now. So you have to be clever on your choice of networks and the way you share your content.
Mm-hmm.
On YouTube, it's a little different. I'd say that the more important is really at the base to clean your room, have a clean YouTube channel, and use all the SEO hacks you can get on the caption to have your content more showing when people are searching for it.
Do you have any SEO hack that you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, it's all available. Google and YouTube are really nice teachers, and they give all the content for free online. So just register to a YouTube class, and they give all the hacks you can get. It's just SEO, just using the right word to be for referencing. So.
Yeah,
there's a lot of resource online when you want to educate yourself, and YouTube and Google are really nice for that.
No, that's definitely true. I feel like there's more resources now than there have ever been, especially during Corona times, because everybody is taking to digital to attract an audience to their brand and offering free tools in order to capture that audience, right? That's the marketing strategy.
Yes, and it's still, and there is a new feature every 6 months. It's thing we didn't learn in school, so we need to know. It's always we are always in training in digital. That's what part of the thing I like in this business.
Yeah, Rudy, you've been in social media for a really long time, since 2012, right?
Yeah.
Okay, how has social media changed over the course of the past 8 years?
Well, I've seen it all. I've identified really three main steps in my journey into social media. At first, it was all about organic content and engagement. I remember the days when we had like 20% of engagement rate organically. Annuity stays. And then it was all about media and driving traffic to e-commerce. So the media part was all new. At that time, I joined a media agency just to be able to understand how we can increase the performance of your organic content with mediatization. And then the third pillar I have identified is really influencer marketing, which is definitely now part of the mix. It's been in France, it's a little more recent, but in the other market, especially in North America, it's been part of the scene for a long time now. But, it's in France for the past 5 years, I've been told that it's not a thing that will last. Influencer will not make it. It won't last. And it's been 5 years, and it's now like 20% of the marketing mix. And depending on the brand, like some group are known to be spending more on most of their budget into influencer marketing.
Yeah, this actually makes me think of Emily in Paris. I don't know if you've seen the new Netflix show, but it's about...
Not yet. But for the moment, I'm gathering all the comments, and it's really mixed comments. So now I can't wait to watch it myself to have my own opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm loving it. I want to be Emily, I think. Okay, speaking about influencer marketing, are you also tapping into the power of micro-influencers?
Well, it depends on the strategy and the budget of the brand you're working with. At first, like micro-influencers were the way for brands to get involved in influencer marketing, but without involving big budget. But then the KPI you watch, like you don't get the reach you have with the micro-influencer. So it's really a strategic choice of how you want to spend your budget. I know that if you look at engagement rate, micro-influencers have a better engagement rate, but then you have their low reach, so less people see your content. So it's really part of the strategic decision for the brand of what is their KPI on the campaign.
Yeah. And speaking again about influencers, what about creative freedom? How much creative freedom do you advise brands to give to their influencers?
Well, the way I work with influencers and what I've seen work is like you provide a guideline. It's not, don't call it a brief, but just the specific of what they can do and what they can't, and then you have to let them create. Because if you want to work with them, it's because you have approved their creative approach. So if you want to work with them and give them specific guideline and do's and don't, and two specific guidelines, and giving them like we want this kind of content, it won't work and it won't feel natural, and it will not speak to their community, because people who are following them are following them for their creative approach. So you have to give them the opportunity to propose something.
Yeah, no, it's a tricky issue, because on the one side, you want to make sure that the influencer is obviously playing by your rules, but on the other side, you also want to give them the freedom to talk to their audience, because who knows their audience better than themselves, right?
To me, it's more like, identifying what you don't want, really, what is not possible for you to afterward publish, and then share it with, and being really honest with influencers. We can't have it, this or that, and then see when we can find an agreement.
Yeah. And how do you know how much to pay an influencer?
Oh, this is a tricky question. There's no grid. So, every market has a specific approaches, and this is really the biggest concern. And the only thing I've learned from the years of working in influencer marketing is just when you do one campaign, you have to be careful on how you pay each of the influencers you are working with, because they talk in each other, and if you pay one more than the other, it's always a tricky part. So, but then it's like now we have more data to at first, like we had no data, and it was a really organic approach to influencer. Now we have data, we know their audience, we know how much they speak to the audience you are interested in. So there's always a way to negotiate.
Hmm. You know what? This actually makes me think about Facebook and LinkedIn. Are there really influencers on those two platforms? I haven't really seen it done before.
Yes, to me, it's really Instagram that changed the business of influencers. On LinkedIn, I think it's more about public speakers. It's more like I wouldn't call them influencer, but maybe a more key opinion leader because they're here to defend a point of view. And on Facebook, I wouldn't identify any influencer working on Facebook.
Yeah, no, it's strange that they haven't tapped into the influencer marketing strategy yet because they could attract a good amount of cash to their networks if they were to tap into that.
Well, the it's always it's Facebook and Instagram. It's all falling in the same pocket. So
Yeah. True story. True story. Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about you and let's take a walk down memory lane. So, you've been in marketing communications for over 10 years. What have been some of the most memorable marketing moments to date?
well, every step of the way you have like as I said, your job in social media and digital it's like changing every 6 months because there's a new network, there's a new feature, there's a new way of working on content, on media with influencers. But one of my proudest moments, I would say, like, was my first job in a social media agency in Paris. I was working at Marcel, and and after not even 1 year, my client asked me to join directly our team. So this was one of the proudest moments of my career. To be when you are being poached of your job for former clients. I have always been working in agencies at the time. I have yet to work in a company, so it was a great opportunity back then, and it was a really great moment.
Okay, beautiful. And what about challenges? Because I'm sure you've faced a few challenges along the way as well.
Well, actually, yes, it's always depend on the brand you're working with. At the time, I was joining an insurance brand, so insurance and social media. Like at the beginning, it was a lot of people complaining, and it was a lot of hard situation. So we have a lot of work to do on the CRM. And then how do you speak about insurance in an engaging way on social media? So this was a real cool challenge.
Yeah.
And then it was all about what we should do with media. So I changed job and switched to a media agency to learn how we can improve content and organic with media, and then influencer marketing and how you mix all three of them to have an engaging social media strategy. This is what It's always about learning and being open to the newness. I remember people saying 5 years ago, "Oh, influencer marketing, it will never catch. It's not a thing." Now everybody's doing it. So you have just to adapt and be open to change.
Hmm. Can you foresee any trends taking shape in 2021 and beyond on that same note?
I wouldn't be able to take a stand on this. If 2020 has learned us something, is that we can anticipate. Like everybody, we can go back 1 year ago. Nobody would be able to identify that the COVID crisis, the consequences of working from home on social media. So I wouldn't have a say on this. What's about to happen? It's not even clear what will happen up until the end of this year. So
I guess we just have to take it day by day and go with the flow, right?
yeah, the best way is like your platform. Already focus on what you are doing and doing it well, and then you'll be ready when the situation evolves. But now it's like focusing on what you're doing already and doing it well.
Okay, well, spinning off of that response, Rudy, let's say you could give one piece of advice to your younger self. What would that be? It can be about life or it can be about marketing.
Well, the advice I would say is like trust your value. Like in working in this business, sometimes you will be hit by the rudeness of big companies or big corporations. Just trust your value and move on.
Okay, that's very good advice. And what about the best piece of advice that you've been given?
The more inspirational advice I got, it was at my first position in Montreal. The boss was a big fan of Richard Branson, and the posture of Richard Branson is a good thing always happen. No, good thing never happen when you say no. Like, just never say no to a new opportunity and new thing. You don't know where it will lead, and just enjoy the ride.
Okay, beautifully put. Okay, we are going to be moving into our next set of questions, which are our rapid fire questions. That's your recommendations for our audience. So we were talking about influencers, we were talking about people that inspire you. What's another person that you admire? So another influencer or professional role model that you've learned a lot from?
Well, actually, I think I'm going to stick with Richard Branson.
Okay.
He's really the kind of people with huge business, but always also focus on personal life and how to mix performance and being also a good father, a good husband, a good family man. So this is kind of what I'm looking to.
I love those people who are just good at everything. Like, they're good at their job and they're also good at being a very prominent family.
Personal and workshop balance, it's really what is key for me now.
Yeah, no, it's key for me as well, but it's easier said than done, hitting that balance.
Really, yeah. You can easily get swamped in work, and it's good to have like someone in mind that can encourage you to improve your balance.
Yeah. Rudy, what about ways that you disconnect from work? On that same subject, how do you disconnect from work?
Sports. Really, when I see people going on a run with their headphone off and with music, it's like running for me is like the moment I do sports, like I switch off the telephone and do something else. And then it's always, being with my family, friends and parents. And really, when I do sports, it's just switching off and being in the moment.
Yeah, no, it must be difficult to have a social media job because you're always talking with other people. So having a little space for yourself must be really great as well in terms of mental health.
Exactly. I've learned it the hard way.
I think a lot of people have.
Yeah.
What about a resource that you'd like to recommend? So, for example, a book, a publication, a hashtag, a group, a community.
Well, to me, it's like I've been working in this for so long. I follow group on LinkedIn, on Instagram. But sometimes just take some time and watch what you are following on Instagram and do a cleaning, because your feed can easily get swamped with the people you are no longer interested in. Just take some time to make sure you follow the right person, and even on Twitter, and your feed will improve and get you information you are now interested in.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Although sometimes hard, because I feel bad sometimes for defriending or defollowing somebody that I know who was my friend, but who is no longer my friend, and I don't really care about their life. But it does make me feel bad doing that. So there is this like emotional part to it.
Yes, but sometimes you follow people and they stop posting and just taking space on your. And you have to consider it like your space. So it's just you're unfriending people. It's because it's not matching your interest now. So
yeah, it's like your house. Who you want to invite to your house, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And last but not least, Rudy, what's your favorite app at the moment and why?
The app I wished I have invented is Mapster. It's an app, you can record all the restaurants or places you like, and it's always, you can have quickly a tendency to go to the place and go back to them. And with Mapster, like discovering new places, you see something online and you say, I want to try this. You add this to your Mapster, and it's always reminding you like, okay, I am here, I can go there, and you can, when you travel, you can see the places your friend were.
Yeah.
I love this app.
You know what? That's so funny because yesterday I was interviewing another social media expert, also in the beauty scene, also based in Paris, and her favorite app at the moment is also Mapster. Coincidence?
Okay, you need to connect us.
Yeah, I did. I will after this call. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining me on the Content Mix. It was awesome to meet you and to learn about your experience in marketing.
Well, thank you, Carlotta. It's been a blast, and I love talking and sharing about this it's a great industry, and it's always changing, and so it's really cool to keep on seeing what happens.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more. Okay, and everybody listening in today, thank you for joining us on the Content Mix. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out the Content Mix. We'll be releasing interviews just like this one every day, so keep on tuning in. Thanks again. Have a fabulous day, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.